There's been a lot of buzz recently about people burning out at work. This whole work from home situation, which never seems to end, is really blurring the lines between work and home, stressing us out. In this video, we're going to go over 5 simple tips I use to maintain my sanity. Tip number 1. Prioritize taking breaks. One of the best perks of remote work is this extra time that you went back from not having to commute to work every day. But for many of us, this extra time isn't being used with intention. It kind of just bleeds into the rest of our workday. Back when we used to go to the office, breaks get forced on us, like the wait for transit or the chit-chatty coworker at the water cooler. Things are different at home. There's always some kind of work to do, like laundry, your dog, Amazon packages to return. Work doesn't necessarily have to relate to your job. It's any kind of activity that you feel you're obligated to do, as opposed to a break in time where you get free reign over what you want to do. So we got ourselves this extra time, and yet we run around working even more frantically than ever before. It's no wonder we're burning out. We have to learn how to create breaks in our day. Funny thing is, we're generally pretty good at this when we're given a longer length of time. For example, on your day off, you probably know what you want to do to relax, like watching a movie or hanging out with friends. And yet when that time gets shortened into a reasonable work break, like half an hour to an hour, we just don't know what to do with ourselves. For me, this is the perfect amount of time to do some meditation or a cardio workout at the gym. The only rule of the game is to choose an activity that puts your brain in the state of free flow. You're not planning ahead or going from one task to another. You're in a position to let whatever thoughts flow in and flow out. That's what it means to take a break, and taking breaks help you avoid burnout. Tip number 2, deprioritize reactive work. Work at large tech firms can be very fast-paced. You're constantly bombarded with notifications when somebody comments on your Google Doc or sends you a Slack message. Responding to people is inevitably a very important part of your job. But bear in mind that nobody ever sent a rocket to space by spending the majority of their time refreshing their notifications. Burnout happens when you're putting in all this time and effort, and yet the rocket's not moving. So unless the world is on fire, reactive work like responding to emails and messages that don't even relate to each other is usually a task that can be queued up and reprioritized until later. If you can't tell whether or not the world's on fire, well, that's probably a good skill to learn. A good signal is when somebody starts raising their voice on you or pings you twice on Slack. Long story short, check your email and Slack less often, like once a day, unless the world is on fire. Tip number 3, switch it up. Now that you've freed yourself up from reactive work, you have extra time to dedicate to other types of work. Any entrepreneur will tell you there's not one thing that launches the rocket. Everything has to move along. By switching up your roles at work, you get to embody this holistic movement and feel less stuck. You can set aside some time to be a student by doing online learning, like watching this YouTube video and giving the creator a big thumbs up as a token of support. Or you can take on the role of an advisor to your manager, help them figure out project timeline estimates for the next year. Or you can act as a mentor, set up one-on-ones with your peers, and suss out how you can help them remove obstacles. The goal is to keep yourself and your team moving in different ways. Moving, even in the wrong direction, can still be a learning experience. Not moving, everybody burns out. Tip number 4, talk with the right people. When we say moving, usually nothing is physically moving unless it's a rocket. More often we just mean a feeling of making progress. There are certain individuals in your organization who have the power of glib to really amplify that sense of progress. Find those individuals, set up one-on-ones with them, and just hype each other up. Being excited reduces burnout. There may come a point in time down the line when no amount of human sorcery can hype you up. That's when you should probably consider quitting your job. But while we're still on the job, it's my personal philosophy to leave things better than when you found it. The least you can do is act as an echo chamber for somebody else's hype. Who knows? Maybe that hype will lead them to propel progress in a way that you could not visualize. You move on, they move on, everybody wins. Tip number 5, really prioritize taking breaks. We've all experienced good days when we felt godlike. You wake up in the morning feeling super refreshed and motivated, and somehow that energy carries through even to the dead of night. But then comes the bad days. It's only 4 p.m. in the afternoon, there's still so much light left in the day, and yet you can't get yourself to start doing a single damn thing. A lot of people advocate for training your body to push through these moments of discomfort. Sometimes you try and succeed, other times you fail, but that's okay. When you feel like your body and mind are trying to tell you that they're tired, perhaps not to the point of exhaustion, but still tired. Too many of us get stuck at this point, trying and failing to activate ourselves, when we should really be focusing on giving ourselves a proper rest. However crappy we're feeling tonight, the next morning will always feel a little better. It could even feel a lot better if we hadn't stayed up till 12 a.m. agonizing over our lack of willpower. Sometimes this means getting ready for bed at 8 p.m., which I do at least once a week. Sure, you could probably squeeze an extra hour or two of work into your night and go to sleep at 10 p.m. without sabotaging your sleep quality, but why does it matter? Life is long, and 1 hour of super brain time the next morning is worth at least 4 hours of zombie brain time. Work smarter, not harder, and taking a break is smart. No matter how many simple tips you have up your sleeve, everybody burns out eventually unless they find a sense of purpose. Working harder will not help you find your purpose. You have to work less and think more. My name is Alan Z, Consumerist Monk. I'm going to be doing a whole series of videos on how to think like a software engineer and design your life with purpose. If you want to follow me along, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.